Oh,
Hello.
oh, hang on, not yet, Aaron. I'm sorry. I hit the wrong thing. I hit a
What's
picture,
up?
not a video.
Why are your eyes underneath? So, are you sunburnt?
I did a little tan. You know what? I should put some. Let me put some concealer on real quick.
You're good. You're good. I'll
Yeah.
I'll run the
No, you're very pale underneath there.
I'll run the intro. People are getting a little bit of a backstage section here. That's okay.
Better?
Yes.
Just rub concealer all over your whole face, Aaron.
Yeah.
They actually look
Alright.
really pale underneath.
Oh wow.
All right,
Okay. Good.
let's do
Yeah.
this.
Welcome to the most important podcast you are listening to right now. The A Show with April Hunter and Aron Stevens.
Welcome to the A Show, where we are letting y'all know that it is Long Hair Don't Care Day, and of course, I'm kidding. There was a bit of a discussion on the the minute prior to all this that I was a little bit light under my eyes because I had gotten a bit of sun, so I fixed the problem. But I just figured I would maybe hide half of my eyes so I only look half as bad. But the hairstyle wasn't working for me. April, how are you? Of course, this is the A Show. This is the host of the A Show, April Hunter, and I am her sidekick, Aron. And what's going on?
Aron Stevens, everybody. Yeah, no, everything's good. I actually just came back from a vacation, the first one in a while. So, woo, woo.
How was that? How was that?
Well, you know what? There was good and bad with that. So, we went up to I think it was Blue Ridge Mountains. And that was beautiful. We're up in Blairsville, Georgia. Hey, Winona, Alexa. Hey, I see you, Jamie. How are you guys doing? And
hey guys,
that was
and ladies.
It was gorgeous. And I love to go places where there's not really any internet. That makes me happy. So I have been offline for about 5, almost 6 days, and I understand a whole lot has happened. So you'll get me caught up on some of these things. But one of the places we went to was Helen, Georgia. Now, online, Helen, Georgia. Hey, Eva. Helen, Georgia is picturesque and gorgeous and Germanic. And it looks like you're going back in time in Bavaria.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything's amazing looking. When we showed up in person, this was not what we saw. It looked like Daytona Beach at spring break with Lederhosen. I'm not even kidding you. So if you are contemplating going to Helen, Georgia, you should probably know it doesn't exactly appear as the advertisement. So it's definitely a tourist trap. It also wasn't settled by Germans. It was a mining town that kind of collapsed in World War II. And two Bavarians came in and turned it into a tourist trap. So, hey, there you go.
But you know what? It sounds like they were doing a really good job at concealing the trap, which you've just now let the cat out of the bag. And I don't think that that's really that kind, because those nice people that tried to rebuild the town and get business in, get, commerce flowing again, you just completely stooged everything off.
Pretty much, yeah.
With what you just said, how do you think that impacts Helen, Georgia?
Let's see. I feel like people deserve the truth, so they should know what they're getting into, especially when they're putting down their hard-earned money.
You can't spell Helen without hell.
That's right. And by the way, I'm getting some feedback, so I don't know who. Is anybody else getting feedback there, or no?
Oh, well, I'm not getting any feedback on the mic, but we are getting feedback in our comments section. Hello to everyone.
Yeah, we
and Helen, Fred. Helen has a population of 500, which is it's very interesting.
Aron, are you using the regular mic or your
No, I have my regular mic plugged in. Yeah, it's my.
Okay, it just sounds so different right now. Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. How do I sound, everybody? No, I'm just Are we okay?
I guess so.
All right.
No.
No, so funny. Okay, so you were vacationing
Mhm.
with Lederhosen and t-shirt shops and TGI Fridays and Chili's, I'm thinking, right? Like there was like when tourist trap, that's immediately what I think of.
German versions of TGI Fridays, I
Okay.
suppose, but yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what was it like to be disconnected from everything? Like tell us what that's like,
Ugh.
because again, we're constantly flooded. I got a new phone finally. Check it
Mhm.
out. It is lavender, but I have a black case to cover it. And again, I've been trying to track my screen time and just that I'm exposed to, again, phones and media. And, I don't watch much television, but yeah, like where you were kind of in nature, I saw some of the pictures that were just absolutely incredible looking. What was that like? What was that process like? Like how long did it take you to really kind of calm down?
It was fucking awesome.
Hmm.
It took me about halfway there on the car ride to calm down. So that was it.
Cool.
We decided to not wait until our vacation started to start the vacation, and we went up the night before. So, hang on, my cat is trying to manipulate my life, and he's succeeding. So we got there, and the house was right on the water. So there was a stream, and you could hear it. It was very, very loud. It was not really a stream. Sorry, it was a river. We were on the river, and it was beautiful. And there was nothing but nature and deer and chipmunks and birds. And we went out to an alpaca farm, and we had very, very limited internet. Like I had kind of just enough. Yeah, there was a crick or creek, you guys. Crick or creek.
It depends on what part of the country you're in.
No. A crick is what happens to your neck.
I thought that was a kink.
It's also a crick. It's a
right.
creek. Anyway, yeah, just enough internet like to kind of post a few things here and there and keep my sites updated and not let people know that I fell off the face of the earth. But that was it, and I stayed off of it, and it was nice not to deal with phone calls or talking to anybody. Or actually, it's pretty amazing to pull back and not see the news and not be on the social media. It was real nice.
Yeah, very cool.
So I feel like I regenerated, I guess. There's too
much.
much.
It's always good. And, we could all use it. We definitely, it's one of those things where we could, all of us now, especially with all the craziness going on today, use a little break from that. Even if we have to, it's like a self-imposed vacation detox.
Yes.
But, so yeah, that's very cool. Well, so here's what you missed. And
yeah.
So the Chappelle Netflix show, and again, I want to encourage everyone.
We did see that. We did watch that because they had a dish up there.
Oh, well, cool. All right, so yeah.
Yes.
So and again, I would love everyone to weigh in on this. I know that Netflix has decided to keep it up there in the wake of some people making comments that it's transphobic and it's insulting to people and everything. And it's just such an interesting topic because it brings up the fine line of like comedy, right? I mean, in the theater, you have comedy and tragedy. And what I have noticed in my studies of film, television, and theater is that they're both connected. Comedy and tragedy are not opposite. They are. They what?
Our writing class at Full Sail we went through different genres of classes, and we had one that was comedy and tragedy together. So we would take a play or a screen, write a screenplay and have to turn it from a tragedy to a comedy back to a tragedy. So yeah, you're right.
And I got to thinking, and I like this. There's something much bigger going on here, right? Actually, there's a few things much bigger going on. Number one. Like let's take the comedy portion of it, right? Like, okay, this comedy, in my opinion, it speaks to the human condition, right? As does tragedy. But if you look at human beings and who we are, if you take us at our most emotional, like when we are, like everyone right now, picture like if you have to pick one time in your life where you have been so upset and so mad, and like the faces you're making, how you're acting, what you're doing, right? So you have never been more heated, and turn the volume down. It's absolutely hilarious. Think about that. Watching human beings with the volume down when they're super upset, it is funny as hell. Now, what does that say about human beings, right? Now, okay, so we're in a heightened emotional state. And then when we're happy, it's the same thing, right? It's also completely hilarious. And so human beings, and here's just my theory, right? Like we are emotional people, right? And now the human condition, of course, it's literally, I mean, every emotion on the spectrum, and the circumstances we're born into, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to get into that whole thing, but at what point, when we learn how to laugh at ourselves, not that Dave was, in my opinion, targeting a group, because like Dave Chappelle, his comedy, and I'm a fan, by the way, like he goes after everybody. And he says, "Oh, my problem is with white people." Well, I wasn't offended. Because here's the thing: at the end of the special, there are pictures with him with all different kinds of people, black, white. There's what was really interesting to me, and I'm going to say a trans woman, was this backlash. But then when I sat and watched the special, he told a true story of how he took a comic who was trans by the name of Daphne and said, "You know what? I'm going to give you a shot. I'm playing San Francisco. Open for me." And there was an opening act, and I guess she didn't do well. But then as he went on there, she said so. She went in the crowd and watched, and she said something, and they had this whole interaction back and forth on stage. And Dave like helped bring her up and bring out the comedian inside of her, which is absolutely amazing, and maintained a friendship with her. And to me, come on, like how insane is that? Where like obviously this dude went out of his way, and to call him transphobic, homophobic, or anything like that, to me is absolutely absurd because of the kind of human being he is. And if a comic, your job is to like pick on everybody. If one group of people wants to be included, then you know what? Like, hey, everything's fair game, because we realize it's coming from a place of we're all hilarious with the volume turned down. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Well, I thought
I saved myself. I recovered from last week.
Huh?
I recovered from last week.
There you go. Hey, we had a rough show last week. It happens,
Well, anytime Eric Rowan has anything to do with anything, it's going to be disappointing. Sorry. It wasn't his fault. It was mine.
Disappointing. No, but seriously, we watched the special. Highly recommend it. It was very, very to the point and honest. I did not think it was offensive, but I did think there was, in today's environment, a chance that it could get pulled for a variety of reasons. And I applaud Netflix for keeping it up. They went to bat for Chappelle and decided to keep it up. And I was kind of surprised at that, but it's nice to see people being stood up for, like Gina Carano got uncanceled and she was back on the Mandalorian. So it's nice to see that. I get tired of the knee-jerk reactions or people only hearing what they want to hear in a story, or there's a lot of difference between a response and a reaction. And we are real big on reacting. And when we get emotional about something, it clouds the part of our brain that makes logical decisions. That's why they always say, when you get upset, walk away for a little while before you respond, or take a day and sleep on things, because you should not be making responses or decisions when you're emotional. A lot of times they're anger-based or fear-based. These are not good choices, and they lead to worse situations later. So reactions are emotional-based. Responses are logical.
Very, very sound advice. Yeah. And again, even in the bigger picture now, to where and I think if I had to go back, right, I don't want to say catalyst of all of this, because there's been struggles for equality for a very, very long time. But what kind of
Sorry,
and
that was as a woman. I just started laughing there.
no, and it's still. I mean, look, it's still going on. As people, we need to have patience with ourselves, but we all need to, in my opinion, really strive for just equality.
5 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope.
April Morissette. Or no, yeah, is that Alanis Morissette? Who is that?
No, that's Four Non-Blondes.
That's
they were
right.
talking about
That's right.
trying
I'm so
to
sorry.
have an equal situation, and that song is 25 years old and it still applies.
Yeah. No, and it's like, where is it going? What is it going to stop? Okay, here's my theory. With the Me Too movement, and actually Chappelle touches upon this in the Me Too movement, which is why I really think that Netflix made the right decision in keeping him, where he got into it with someone who was like, oh, you're anti-woman, and yada yada yada. He's like, look, he goes, with the Me Too stuff, you had these actresses who, and again, you have a more valid opinion on this than me because you are a woman in entertainment. And I'm just kind of repeating, and I'm not quoting, I'm just paraphrasing here, which essentially, when women are accepting of like, oh, okay, I will sleep with this person to get ahead, but then when the Me Too stuff happens, they're waving the flag of, oh, this was terrible, and after the checks are cashed and everything like that. And what Dave said, it was really kind of bone chilling. He's like, when this woman said to me, how can you understand? He goes, no, like when they wanted to kind of get into my head and tell me what to do and water down who I am, I'm the one who got off the bus and left $50 million on there.
Yep.
And that was so telling, because at the end of the day, he was at the height. I mean, there was no other comic more popular than Dave Chappelle. And when he was confronted with a situation like that, out. You have to respect that. Whether you're a fan of Dave Chappelle or not, the man stood up for what he believed in. And, I think part of what makes him as awesome as he is he's able to look at human beings and just talk unfiltered. Just say what most people are thinking, in my opinion, even if they don't know they are. Like he's managed to point out such obvious contrasts, right, in different cultures, different people, in different situations, from socioeconomic to the government and how they deal with things. In my opinion, he is this generation's George Carlin. I do. So? Yes, absolutely. I think Dave Chappelle is like him and George Carlin, I think, are like this. They're just
really. I would think Joe Rogan would get that one.
No, because Carlin was funny. Carlin did it, and you laugh the whole time. And I think with Dave, it's the same thing. I'm a fan of Rogan. I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan. Again, he's a free thinker, and his podcast is more discussion and everything.
Yeah.
But no, like in terms of like just doing stand up and making people laugh and just pointing out all the wonderful idiosyncrasies of humanity. Chappelle's it for me.
Yeah, maybe. I have to think on that. Yeah, remind me next week. I'm going to think on that a little bit. Yeah,
watch Carlin and then watch Dave Chappelle, and it's definitely there.
Yeah, well, love both.
What are your thoughts on that, though, April? Like, as a woman in the entertainment business, and God, you've done everything, again, wrestling, acting, and just everything in between. Like, what are your thoughts on that, to where a woman can say, like, okay, this happened to me, and are they a victim if they say yes?
Well, you're asking somebody who walked away from a WWE contract because of its stipulation.
There you go.
So I had to be single in order to take it, which had nothing to do with my in-ring abilities. So no, they're not a victim if they say yes, in my opinion. I mean, it could be different for everybody. I shouldn't judge everyone so harshly, but you have to reach down and find your fucking balls sometimes. And if you say yes and you do these things and you make that decision, that's on you. You got to live with it. And you set a bad precedent for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if enough, yes, Ricky Gervais, somebody said Ricky Gervais could be this generation's Carlin as well. I would say very possible. But I think you have to have a sense of ethics and morals. And when someone, you have to stand on them. And when someone says, we'll do this if you'll do this, and you're really not comfortable with it, for example, Daphne, the wrestler, was not comfortable with doing that match where she went through the table, the barbed wire table. She was not okay with it, but she did it. Even she let TNA push her into that. Mm-hmm. And the repercussions of that were not good. She had irreversible damage. Mm-hmm. And she told Lexi all day long that she didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it. She had a bad feeling about it. She didn't want to do it. Stand up for what you are uncomfortable on. It doesn't matter what it is. Mm-hmm. Say no. No is the most powerful word ever. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when you say no, it makes people respect you and want you even more. People push. If you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. Say no. I was actually just talking about that on Facebook this morning. You have more power than you think you do.
Yeah.
Like a lot more power.
Yeah.
Like a lot more power. Say no. But I'm talking about everything. But no, I you
just said it again. You just said no.
I don't know if you were around when I wrote about the Me Too movement, but I was not on board with it. Now I understand it. I get it. We have had similar situations in wrestling. I'm aware of them. I've dealt with them. A lot of girls have dealt with them. I know sometimes it's really difficult when you are put in a position of, if you want to work, this is how it has to be, especially as a female where there, aren't that many opportunities and you're paid less. But I just feel like if more people stand up, I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And, with everything, I do think that the Me Too movement was good in the sense of, despite how people dealt with it. And look, there were some women that had, such legitimate gripes and concerns and argue like this is not to take away from the legitimacy of any of these women, because if, as a man, putting a woman in that situation is not, in my opinion, it's one of the worst things you could ever do. Like, you use power, position, influence, and sometimes physical force to try to make a woman do things that they don't want to do. You're a scumbag. Okay. There's no other way to say it. You are a scumbag, and scumbags come in all shapes, sizes, and, different levels of the totem pole. The people like Harvey Weinstein, yes, I think that was amazing that he was, taken out of power, shall we say. And then, your other actor, I don't want to name names, but like there were some actors that were doing some really bad and illegal things, not just with women, but, with people that are underage, and, they got theirs. And if that can prevent them from hurting anyone ever again, and bringing this to light can, prevent that horrible situation happening, or from happening, it's a good thing. So, with everything, I think there's positives and negatives, and in the negatives, to your point, yes, like the people that are trying to use it to kind of make a name for themselves in some way. It
also became a bit of a witch hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. And again,
where guys felt like they were walking on eggshells, like they couldn't even tell a girl her hair looked pretty or whatever, and it became a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's like one of those rubber balls, right? If you throw it in a box, it's going to bounce around for a little bit before kind of calming down and settling. And man, I just hope we're reaching a point where we're kind of settling. And you know what? It starts again with like the Netflix decision to say like, okay, like we are going to accept everyone. And again, look at Chappelle's actions. And, obviously in his heart, he is not transphobic at all. Look what he did. He helped this woman. He helped her find a career. And unfortunately, she took her own life, which is, again, we've talked about mental health and suicide and everything on here before and will again. But, how Dave said he was heartbroken. And, he said, like, I hope to talk to your son one day. And just the fact that he wants to continue that relationship with this person's son. And he was funny, but in my opinion, if you really watch that, you saw Dave's heart. And I think that's good that Netflix took a stand. And I think that, we can set boundaries to where, like, yeah, it is not okay to go after anyone and insult anyone for who they are, what they believe, what they look like, anything like that. And now I think we can just maybe reach a point where we can start just finding that middle ground of common sense, that sweet spot, if you will, where we can also move forward as a society and not have to, every little thing is offensive, because we're going to be the ones that suffer. We're humans. We're all prone to getting out of control at some point. We're all, everyone's, I'm sure, at some point has tweeted something out that they were mad or whatever, or that they maybe want to take back. And I mean, there's no reason, like with Kevin Hart, to cancel him. Was it Kevin Hart or Chris Rock? I'm sorry.
I believe it was Kevin Hart.
Yeah, well, yeah, like to cancel him from the Oscars for like 10 years ago. My God. And then what's the norm? That changes. What was cool to say when I was growing up is not cool to say now.
Oh, I know. It's like in wrestling. You're so gay. Why are you being so gay?
Like, yeah, but like take that into consideration, and we're reaching a point where cell phones have been around for, 20 plus years. Like, let's take things in context, and people, I think people have become addicted to, like, I don't know if it gives them a sense of power.
Righteousness.
Where, yes, like, look what this person did. And let he who is without sin. Now, again, in the cases of people that are offensive on purpose and do things that they shouldn't, whether they believe or not to believe them to be wrong, if they cross the line, no, things need to, they need to change there. And you know what? The good part about these last couple of years is we're working towards. But can you imagine if everyone could get on the same page and just say, yeah, like we're humans, we can laugh at ourselves. But then that mutual respect where you're not forcing something down people's throats. I sent I posted something on Instagram, and it was a tweet from Kane, and it was essentially about big government.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it was essentially about big government, right? And I don't think that big government should have a super big role in our day-to-day lives. I am for a very limited big government in terms of how they meddle in our. Look, pay federal taxes. We need to. I support taxes. That's what kind of keeps our democracy. That's what takes, Social Security and everything like that. I am for that. But it wasn't a statement about COVID, about masks, or anything else. It was simply about big government. And some of the responses, I mean, people got nasty with each other. So I took the tweet down, and then I'm like, well, was I wrong too? And I said, you know what? No, because if I look like a wuss, for lack of, you can still say that, right? WUSS. Is that okay to say, everyone?
It's your show. It's your show. Say what you want.
If I look like that, you know what? I don't care, because if it prevents someone from being called a name, if it prevents someone from, because who knows what state anyone else is in nowadays. We live in such a volatile time. I'm not going to have any of my social media be a platform for people to call names. So what I did is I tweeted I posted a video message on Instagram, and I just said, like, I believe in small government, but I believe in freedom. I believe in being kind to each other. I believe in looking out for the vulnerable, and we should take care of each other, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's all. So I felt that was kind of cool, because that was my statement originally. That's what I was trying to convey in the tweet. and I was able to do that via a video message and let people kind of know where I stand on things, and just not to be assholes to each other. There's no other way to put it. Like, you know, the whole thing, it's such a paradox, man. Like, oh, cyberbullying. And yes, we live in such a sensitive time, but these jackasses will do it online. It's like, come on. Like, you're either one side or the other.
I wrote something today that kind of was inspired by, I don't know, everything. And what do you remember? It's hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing, you know, coming back from Georgia and seeing road rage or unacceptable driving, middle fingers, seeing what you dealt with online with people using one of your posts to fight with each other, made me think about all that. So I wrote, hurt people hurt people. We must remember that there are many who are in mourning, frustrated, hurt, angry, and feel like they have no control of their lives. They take it out on us. Be patient. Understand that in most cases, it's not personal. Whether it's road rage or someone being rude online, it's not you, it's them. And it's what they're going through. Straw, camel, broken back. Likewise, if that's you lashing out, we've all done it, me included. We do have control. While we can't control everything that happens to us, we can control our own responses. There's a world of difference between reacting and responding. Often no response is the best response because it is a powerful response, and it can be self-preservation. Hurt people, and many are looking for validation, not information. They are looking to provoke reactions. Underneath anger is fear. Fear makes us do stupid things. Fear can have us making terrible decisions. Fear cripples the part of our brain that assists in logic and decision making. And when we make questionable decisions, we seek validation, or we're angry that we may have chosen the wrong path. If you can't change your situation, choose to see it a different way. And if you can change your situation, change it. If there is a solution to a problem, you don't have a problem. We have way more power than most of us realize. We have the power of no. Seize it. And P.S., incessantly bitching about shit on social media is not changing anything, just in case you weren't sure.
Thank you all very much. This has been another edition of the A Show, and we will see you next week. I'm kidding. No, but that says it all. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. No, that was cool. That was awesome.
I just got fed up with people just being so cruel. You know, like one of the girls that I know had two people close to her pass away from COVID. And all anybody wrote, now I understand this because you know how I feel about a lot of this stuff, but there's a time and place. All people wanted to know, well, not all people, but a lot of people want to know if they were vaccinated or not. And it's like, you know what? It's not an acceptable thing to ask. You know, we're already going through a division, and don't do that when someone's going through mourning. And you know what I mean? Regardless of what you think, where you stand, how you feel, leave it be. Does that, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Does that? And like, she was upset. She's like, that's all people are asking. And that's not the right thing to ask right now.
Awful. And yeah, you know, if someone's sick with the flu or whatever, like, oh, are they okay? Like my 80-year-old grandmother is sick with the flu. Oh, are they okay? My 80-year-old grandmother
did she have a flu shot?
Oh, did you get the jab? You know?
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, where is the humanity? And I think, look, that is, as humans, we are prone to influences, right? I mean, that's how we are. And right, with the media and just everything in it, like, okay, yes, logically, it's like, so COVID vaccine. Like that's in my opinion, it's that simple. That's what the connection our brains make. And in that we lose our humanity because with this whole pandemic, people are sick, people are dying. And, you know, on one side you have people that they don't believe the virus exists.
Yep.
And then
we're not on two sides. We don't have two sides.
or on
We're all in this together.
We are, but I'm saying on one
Okay.
viewpoint, you have to an extreme viewpoint, you have people that believe the virus doesn't exist, and then on another side, you have people that are just like, do this, do that, and that like there's no other option, which is just again like, can we please use some common sense and find some middle ground and have a discussion? Because when you completely like whatever you believe, right? No problem has ever gotten solved. If you meet someone, all right, here's an analogy. If you meet someone on the battlefield, the end result is death. Maybe you, maybe your opponent, maybe both of you. Death is the end result. If you meet at a table, right, you're going to look and have a discussion, a nice level playing field. You may even have a meal. But like there's a difference to sitting down, being a civilized human being, and genuinely wanting to know where these people come from. And I have talked to people on both sides. The people that are just like, oh, this isn't. I'm like, well, why do you feel that way? And based on what you wrote, April, it's out of fear, right? And on the other side,
Everything's out of fear.
it's the same thing. It's out of fear. So people are afraid. And
there's no logic.
Yeah.
No logic happening right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's on purpose, though, I think. There's not a lot of correct information. So we're getting information and it's being labeled misinformation. And then we're getting misinformation labeled as true information. Mm-hmm. And somewhere in the middle is where things usually connect. That's usually where you're going to find the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. And, it would help if we could just get the facts, get the, unfiltered facts. That would help people, in my opinion, so much, but we don't do that.
So let me say a couple things to that. Mm-hmm. So again, we're pretty neutral politically. Mm-hmm. We're also pretty neutral on a lot of this stuff. Dare I say logical at times. So, so YouTube, I wanted to talk about this a little bit ago. YouTube decided that they were going to fight misinformation by taking down any videos that speak out or challenge what's going on. Now, in my opinion, science doesn't mind being questioned. Lies do. So if you can't question science, it's propaganda. So YouTube is basing their information and what they're going to take down and keep up on the rules that the WHO set up. But here's the irony in this. They failed to mention that the WHO is being sued by countries for spreading misinformation and for reckless endangerment of humanity for the things that they've said against some of the treatments and pharmaceuticals that are out there that can save lives. They're being sued by India, a lot of states and large states in India are COVID-free now, and they're not vaccinated. So now they have a home kit, and in their kit, they put IVM in there. So, and this is true. Anybody can look it up anywhere. If you want to find a little bit more for your options of truth, go on something like Firefox, attach DuckDuckGo as a privacy browser, and then do your search. Do not use Google. Oh my God. So you're going to get completely different results. But so we're basing our information on a company that is disingenuous and is being sued for misinformation. What's going on there? So we can't even get the proper information for which to make a logical decision. The lack of ethics is unbelievable. Now, a tried and true military campaign is you go in and you disable the system by confusing and scattering the people. So if you really want to look around at what's happening, we are confusing and scattering the people. That is what's happening here. So if you are a big picture person, and no, most people aren't, most people aren't, but if you're a big picture person and you're willing to zoom out and look and bear in mind that 3 years ago, if somebody told us the shit happening now was going to happen, would have been like, you're a conspiracy theorist, but it's happening. So you can't rule anything out right now. You just can't. So zoom out, look at the big picture, see what's happening in front of your faces. Okay. So we are being turned against each other. We are being divided. We are turning into two tiers, two classes of humanity. Okay. And we know, factually, we know that it does not matter if you get the medication or not, you're still getting sick. So why are they insistent upon giving it to us? This is the question we should all be asking. We should all be asking that question. If we know, and we all know this, it doesn't matter if you get the medication or not. People are still getting sick, just the same as people who are not taking the medication. Why is it such a thing to be made to have it, to the point where they're threatening your livelihood? You can't go out. You can't do anything. You can't have a job. You can't put food on the table for your kids. You'll be dropped by insurance. Your spouse has to have it, or your spouse will be dropped from their insurance.
Or in one case,
really going on?
I believe in Louisiana.
What the fuck is really going on?
Yeah, in Louisiana, if your spouse is not vaxxed, it's an extra $200 a month on your insurance.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's like, come on, really? Like that's
what I'm talking about. This is not okay. None of this is okay. Anybody who thinks this is okay, you need to go run full force across the room and smash your fucking face into a wall, if that's what it takes, because you're not logical, and this is not okay, and this is not how you grew up. None of this is okay. Nothing about this is okay. And if you think it's okay, you are part of the problem. And if you think taking rights away from other people is okay, you are part of the problem.
Yeah.
If you
I agree with that.
if you have free choice, do whatever you want, but you cannot tell somebody else what they can do.
Yeah. And
you cannot be behind forcing things. I don't care what's FDA approved. I have a list of medications, just me personally, that I've had recalled. A list of medications for things causing cancer, tetracycline. I've had Ranitidine taken back. I've had my brother has Accutane. They try to push a Gardasil vax on me. All these medications have been FDA approved. They're totally safe. Take them. They're fine. Recalled. And they were long-term tested. An FDA medication is tested minimum of 5 years, usually 10 years. That's how long it takes to find the efficacy and safety with it, because you need to see how long it takes for the side effects to come out. There's not a single person out there that can tell us what's going on with side effects. If you say, well, let's see, if I take it, I'm still going to get sick, because a lot of my friends have gotten sick with it, even though they are taking it. Doesn't matter which one it is. So tell me what's in it for me, because am I going to get like cancer later? I don't know. Hasn't been tested. Well, why should I take it? Why should I take it? Because you're trying to choke me out, choke my life out, tell me I can't go to a Foo Fighters concert? I can't go see AEW? Okay, fine. Fuck you. I won't go see AEW or go to Foo Fighters.
You can come to NWA.
Right? I'll go to NWA. Power, baby.
Yep.
So.
You know what? And then to your point, April, again, I don't disagree with anything you said. And I think that because of this forcing and like the whole thing where it was a certain percentage that we were all told, if we hit this percentage, we'll be okay. And then that percentage was higher. And again, you know what? Obviously, there are companies that have a vested interest in this, and that there are people who have stock in those companies that have a vested interest in it. And, I don't have to say that. Like, we all pretty much kind of can do our own research, or we all already know. But what this has done has caused people to now kind of have a propensity to where if you did take the jab and something happens, that it's automatically the jab's fault. Now, there can be, again, things happen to people all the time, right? Like hospitals existed, ERs existed long before this virus did. But there was a senator, and that's why I was looking down, Dr. Ezra Khan, I believe. She was an Australian MP. She collapsed, I guess. It's on the news. She collapsed in Parliament. And the first thing it's like, oh, is she vaxxed? Is she this? Again, someone collapsed. Like, let's see what it is first. People have had health problems. So I think it's a matter of, like, again, finding the middle ground and approaching things with common sense. If someone has taken it, great. It's their choice, right? Now, if that leads to an amalgamation of health issues that may or may not have happened post taking it, again, I'm not a doctor, and even the doctors don't know. But like, I think research needs to happen, that there have been some adverse reactions to them, right? We cannot deny this. But I do think approaching everything with again, a good degree of common sense, and at the same time, understanding that this is a new thing, and that with people having the reactions they do, I don't, my opinion, like with you, no one should be forced to take this. No one.
Do you know why they're having the reactions that they're having? Because it's being treated as a one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one size fits all. They didn't do enough testing on it, first off. Secondly, this is the first time in history that a medication's effectiveness is being blamed on the people who did not take it.
That's the stupidest. I mean, how stupid do they think we are?
They think we're really fucking stupid, okay? They really do.
Like they've dumbed us down. There was a quote from Putin, and I should have. And again, I'm not a fan of but he's like, look, and he wasn't even addressing on an international audience. He was just saying this to his own people. He'd be like, look, in the West, they have dumbed their people down, and they don't take care of their minds or their bodies. They've perverted themselves with fast food, which has in itself become a drug. Do we want to be like that, or do we want to take care of our bodies, take care of our minds? I mean, wow, what does that tell you? And that's talking to his own people, to where, like, do they think they have dumbed us down that much? We're like, it was like that flat earth bullshit. Okay. The flat earth thing, I was convinced it was human beings just literally, like, it was a giant rib, and it was a rib that people took seriously. Only because it's a rib, but there were people that actually believe that.
They
shit.
believe it, yeah.
And
they don't realize
like,
that if we had a flat Earth, the cats would have knocked everything off the side by now.
Yes. And you know what? We just celebrated Indigenous people and Columbus Day. Yeah, you know what? Look, say what you want about Columbus, but the man had a theory about the Earth being round, and it worked because some of us are in America. Okay, that is the reality. And to try to, like, high government officials, like, blaming the people that don't take it. I mean, come on. It's an individual choice. You introduce something into your system, and look, if it helps fight it, awesome. But I just wish that someone, I mean, is it not like, whether it's the FDA or the the Surgeon General or someone, like, sit us down and be like, hey, this is why, because they've never really said that, like, in terms of an official statement. I mean, I don't know at this point if people could trust them or not, but what does that tell you? When, again, like, there's zero trust in the government, and that's really, it's alarming. But come on. I mean, whether someone lives or dies is dependent on if I get something, because I don't see that happening, And again, I am for, like, I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Here's the thing, though. I'm in storm season. I'm just getting out of storm season in Florida,
Mhm.
and I know that it's kind of a drought in California. But here's the thing: I need you to use your fucking umbrella so that I can stay dry, because mine's not working if you're not using yours. So open your umbrella, please. Oh, so much better already.
Is it
Thank
working?
you. Thank you. Yes. Hang on. Now mine is working. I
Oh, good.
appreciate
Okay,
that.
good.
Now
I'm glad
staying
we got
dry.
to go on that. And I ruined my hair.
Yeah.
Um,
No, so I am very disappointed in this country, and I'm disappointed at the lack of common sense of people. I'm glad that more and more are waking up. I mean, obviously, we're getting better. All of Southwest walked off the job today. Southwest Air. Bravo.
oh my God! And another
Bravo.
thing, like
Bravo.
Southwest, I am a fan of South. I'm a travel diva.
I love Southwest.
April knows this. I am a travel diva.
Yep.
I love Southwest. You know why? You sit where you want. You know, you can pay
Yep.
if you want for the up.
Yep.
Never, not one mother trucking time. Don't drink because I didn't swear. Have I ever had a problem with Southwest Airlines?
Damn it.
Ever?
No, never. Never, me neither.
Love Southwest.
Oh, someone said, Chuck said, if the FDA told me oxygen was good for me, I would seriously consider not breathing. It's true. So here's the problem. We love living in a capitalist society, but the problem is it's a capitalist society. It runs on money. America is the only healthcare system where we earn a profit when people get sick. So I think our healthcare used to be our sixth largest GDP. I'm sure it is much higher than that. We make a lot of money off of healthcare. So in other countries where they have a much higher vaccinated rate, even though the vaccine companies are taking zero liability, and so is OSHA, ultimately they still have another security blanket, and that is universal healthcare. So when a Canadian takes a vaccine and has an adverse reaction, or maybe 5-10 years down the road develops some kind of strange cancer, in theory, if this happens, they still have a universal healthcare system that they can fall back on to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas us, we don't have that. And if we can't work, we really don't have healthcare. So imagine you have something that's so bad that you can't work and you don't have health care at all. You're now homeless because of a vaccine you took that your promise was safe and effective. We know it's not effective. A lot of us are sure it's not safe too. And now what? You're going to go homeless because of it? Because there's zero liability?
Yeah, it's safe, but it's not safe enough to put our name on it.
Right. It's safe. And it's effective, but we're still going to be zero liability, and so is OSHA, even though we're going to fire you over it.
Yeah, and that's just.
I feel confident.
I mean, come on.
I feel so confident now.
Come on.
I'm feeling confident.
Like to lie, and again, yeah, and so my problem with Southwest. Oh, we've canceled over 1,000 flights due to inclement weather. No, you haven't.
1,800 flights, actually.
No, you haven't. Like, why isn't every other airline canceling them then? Because of the mandates. Like, why can't you just say that? Like, and I don't like being lied to from an airline that I really like. So I think
because we live in a capitalist society, and if they use anything other than inclement weather, they have to refund everybody. Let them say it's inclement weather, then they don't refund everybody. But we all know it's a mandate. Everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Because 1,800 flights have inclement weather, but everything is fine on JetBlue and American and Delta, right?
Yeah, crazy.
So I admire them. So, and there's a recording that's from Southwest saying that it's absolutely the mandates. If you go online, you can listen to it.
Yeah, and it's just, again, I don't think, like, why are we being lied to like this? If you want, I mean, it's frustrating, and I have such a hard time with, Like,
I have so many theories on that. You don't even want to know.
the lies,
So many theories.
the lies. And this is why we are the way we are. And I think, God, we individually, and I do feel individually, and I said this to you about 4 months ago. Again, I'm out in LA where, it's definitely kind of a one-sided point of view here for the most part. And I had noticed that people are starting to think for themselves. It was about 4 months ago. And I remember I told you this, April, and they were starting. And again, I hate the term "wake up" because that's just such a buzz phrase right now. But
awareness.
Like they're going, wait a minute, maybe this isn't exactly what we thought it was. So there's at least, again, it's the first steps in hopefully getting to a better place. And look, one lie breeds another lie, breeds another lie, breeds another lie. And no other economic system has elevated people out of poverty than the free trade, open market capitalist system. That is a fact. That is not debatable. It's a fact. However, I do think that capitalism, like anything else, taken to extreme, like what we're doing, again, where you're putting the human being underneath financial gain. That is where you need to temper capitalism with reason. And the point that you temper that, it's when the human being is put under profit. Everyone should be able to make a living, and you know what? We should be able to work hard and do what we want. But you know what? We shouldn't have to kill anyone to get to the top.
I want to tell you guys a story. Speaking of that, actually, both a true story and possibly a theoretical one. So, some of you may or may not be familiar with the right to repair movement, because we live in a capitalist society. Once again, farmers have a right to repair movement. They cannot fix their own equipment because they're not allowed to access the software in the farming equipment because it's copyrighted. So they're fighting that so that they can fix their own tractors and things. This is John Deere and everybody else have said you can't fix your own stuff. Okay. So I'm just going to give you guys things to think about. So say back in, I don't know, say there was a Supreme Court case in theory. Maybe June 2013, you might want to write that one down, in theory. That was a company that wanted to copyright DNA, in theory. And say the Supreme Court, all the justices struck that down unanimously and voted, obviously, judged against it. But at the end of that judgment, this theoretical judgment in June 2013, the Supreme Court case, there was an addendum there that said, they turned it down because they said nothing that's human or found in nature could be owned and copyrighted and what's the word I'm looking for? Patented. However, if something were to change the RNA in the DNA, then you can patent it. In theory. So if something were to come along a few years later that perhaps changed the RNA in our DNA, technically whatever that substance is owned by somebody. It's their patent. Just something to think about. Since we are a capitalist society, keep that one in mind. Just a thought. So there's that. And also, go ahead. Genomes which are patented.
What's that, April?
Genomes that are patented. So what if, like the right to repair, in theory, if this were, theoretical, what if the right to repair bill extended to humans? We don't have the right to repair because we are patented. And they take our health and sell it back to us. What if?
There we go.
Yeah.
Something to think about. I don't suggest thinking about that right before you go to bed, but look, 3 years ago, if you would have told me this, I would have thought you're absolutely insane.
Batshit fucking crazy.
Now, and it is so sad it's gotten to the point, like even the politicians, you know,
Why do you
like
think we have seedless fruit?
yeah,
So that they can't regrow their fruit. That Monsanto makes them, like somebody pointed out, makes them rebuy their seeds every year. Sorry,
Yeah.
even the politicians.
Like where the blatant just disrespect and disregard for people. And this is
What? No, this is for your health and well-being. What?
Yeah, like
It's all for your health and well-being.
Yeah, the example I was going to use, it's. I hope it doesn't seem like it's not anything to do with the point you just made, because it is. With our vice president, where it came out, okay, she used actors in this little speech she gave, right? Like, okay, that came out, but think about it. Like, okay, and then you've seen the fake mask rule, where I forget. I saw a brief clip of it. I need to start making notes of this, where someone was giving a speech, and it was like at a political rally, and then they like, okay, cameras are on, let's all put our masks on now, but they were all standing around without any masks before.
Yeah, I saw that.
And like,
I saw that.
That is just, in my opinion, that is completely insulting people's intelligence. And like with to your point with the patenting DNA and or
Patenting
RNA or
genomes.
altering
RNA. Yeah.
If these are the kind of people that are in charge, and it's not just who you see, it's not just the VP, the president. It's so many different levels of like they have teams behind them, and like, let's do this, let's try it this way. If Mr. Biden decided to take his booster shot in a fake White House thing, who cares? Like, I don't care. It was obviously a stage. Obviously, they knew. I think they made a bigger deal about that than they had to be quite honest. But like the thing with actors, like, come on. Even if I want, like, and I want to really kind of get behind our leaders. I do. Like, there's something innately in me that wants to see the best in people, but like not doing any favors, in my book. And how stupid do they think we all are?
They think we're really stupid because
That's
what
why.
most of us are. Most of us are.
Or does the media want it to be that way? Does the media tell us we're that stupid?
Yeah.
Think about it. Like,
no, the media. The media is owned by 6 corporations that can fear us and steer us any way they want. Those 6 corporations are also in bed with all of this. The head of the NIH bioethics committee is married to Dr. Fauci. The NIH supplies all the FDA testing. That's why it got approved so fast.
There you go.
It's all interlocked, but most people don't know this. It drives me crazy. They have found in this virus a specific component that shows it was man-made. The virus and the vaccine are the same. They are made by the same people. They cause the same issues, I think. Could be misinformation. I don't know.
Well,
that's
you know
my
what?
Theory.
There's different companies that have different patents for it, right? There's and it's all over the world. So, but who knows how deep that goes? Again, something to think about. And with all of this going on, not. I'm going to say, I'm not going to give a percentage, but very few people I have talked to don't think that something's not going on. Yeah. And maybe I'm not like hanging around college campuses, which I'm not, by the way. I'm not that kind of a creep, but the only way I would go to college is to get myself an education and further myself. But no, I'm seriously not. I don't do that. But like, maybe at that level, there's a brainwash, but even then, I don't think so, because I have, cousins and stuff that age, and they're just like, okay, come on. And again, enough is enough. So I think a lot more people realize it, but the media doesn't want to project that. Although I have noticed it's starting to now, because I don't think that you can really hide what's going on, to where it's not just NASCAR chanting. Sorry, I could have sworn I had that off. Sorry. I could have sworn I turned it off. I have a new phone, ladies and gentlemen. And so the half moon, before I would go down and hit it, and the half moon would come up so I could see what the hell was going on. I knew if my phone was silenced, and I could have sworn I had my phone silenced. But with this thing, as you can see, there is no half moon. It is my mom that's calling me right now, but so that's not that this is an excuse. But yes.
Do you need to get that?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I'll talk to her after. But yeah, so there's no half moon. So that was my excuse this week.
So
won't happen again.
Aaron's mom and dad have COVID right now. So we're wishing them
Yes,
health.
they're doing fine. They're doing fine. Thank you.
Yes.
But they, everything is good. They're being smart about it. Like, again, that's all we can do is be smart and try to like use precautions. Look, when this thing came out, wearing masks, and I still don't mind wearing a mask on an airplane, right? That's me. This thing is still kind of out of control, right? Like it's still a thing, right? Like Rona is still a thing. I personally don't mind it, because if I can stop one person from getting sick, and that person's vulnerable, or that person gives it to someone else, and then someone's grandmother dies, I don't want that. I will do that because in my heart, hey, that's the right thing to do. So I will comply with that. I will. Because to me, it's about getting someone else infected. You know what I mean? It's about, I'll share this with you. 3 weeks ago, I had the Rona, and my parents are on the East Coast, so I haven't seen them. So we just happened to get it, but it was September 20th. I lost my taste and smell. Okay, I got Corona. And my whole thing was, I don't want to infect anyone else. That's it, right? So like that was my personal, like how I'm choosing to deal with this, right? And I wish people would just kind of maybe consider that a little more, as opposed to like, hell no, they can't tell us to do that. You're right. They shouldn't be able to. But I think as human beings, all right, we'll be smart about it. Now, you go to a bar, like there's so many different things and variables that go in. But, I try to be at least somewhat reasonable until it's, supposedly under control. And, who knows when that will be, right? I was so disappointed when CNN admitted to messing with the numbers because they wanted people to, really know how serious it was. That was their excuse, that they messed with the numbers. No, you lied to the public, and you wonder why their ratings are in the shitter now.
Yeah.
How can you say that? How can you do that? That is a complete slap in the face of not only the American people, but anyone who watches CNN. Like that is a slap in the face.
So people are arguing about masks. Okay, so from what I understand, obviously I'm not a medical professional. I am a researcher, though. From what I understand, I'll wear a mask. You know why? Here's why. It makes people happy, first off. Secondly, sometimes I just don't feel like wearing makeup, and it's nice to hide. Third, we've been quarantining for so long. There's other stuff going around that masks do help, like flu, cold, sinus, all that stuff. So it does help. But does this stop COVID? No. The COVID molecule is literally, you need a hazmat suit, from what I understand, to protect you from that. And that was part of the problem with the Wuhan lab, is that it was not enough of a secure system to keep that virus in. Whether that's on purpose or not, I don't know. But I don't know if we'll ever know. But if it's one of those things that keeps the peace, the mask does, I guess. So whatever. I still think antibodies, just get COVID, get over it, get the antibodies, you're good. Antibodies, natural immunity,
Mm-hmm.
recognizes every strain of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, but of course that's free. So you can't make any money from that. So that is why AP Press says that that's ineffective, but it's not ineffective. It's very, very effective. And even if their antibody test doesn't pick it up because it's designed that way, get a T cell test, and a T cell test will pick that up. So
Mm-hmm.
if you've had it, you're immune.
Mm-hmm.
So
in Play 180, it doesn't really matter where it came from. It's here, and it's not going away. And you know what? Look,
yeah,
I do think that this will I mean, like, okay, it's not like you can't eliminate everything, but from my understanding, viruses do weaken, and this will calm down. And
they weaken if you let them weaken. If
Yeah.
you do a mass vaccination campaign on everybody,
Mhm.
they are able to mutate to get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody I know that has corona right now, they're all vaccinated, all of them.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, very interesting.
How about you?
But again, do I think that this will be forever with this COVID thing? No, because nothing's forever. We have to just admit that. Like, we can be in it now, and I challenge everyone to kind of like look to the future. Like, this is a part of history that we're living through, but this too shall pass. I think, if anything, and I'm someone that really tries to see the good in everything, but maybe we come out of this with a little more common sense, with having learned something, having
Clean
having
hands.
clean hands, and having a better sense of humanity too, like having a better sense of our own humanity and what someone else may be going through. Maybe we're a little bit more empathetic. I hope we are. I truly hope that is the case. And you know what? To not look on the positive side, it's a pretty shitty thing to do. And yes, you can take a drink because I said shit, or take two now. But again, let's use our heads. Let's be smart. Let's think of other people, but let's not stop really kind of questioning what we're being told, and not from a point of cynicism. From a point of genuine interest, to where if things line up, okay, then we were told the right thing, based on our own research and what we do. And again, it's messed up because we're fed so many different things, and, you can't trust a lot of media outlets and things, but my God, just again, try. Like, April, you had some great resources. Firefox, was it?
If you're going to do some searching, I would
Mhm.
recommend you use Firefox and then add the DuckDuckGo privacy extension on there, and use that for your searching. Just do not use Google. There's no point.
And as always, don't lose common sense. Let's
Yeah.
always keep some common sense,
So here's the thing, right?
Mhm.
Should we ever face a situation? What did I say? The DuckDuckGo is also censoring search results. Yes, are they really? So, what do you guys recommend for a privacy extension? P-search? Is that what it is? P-search?
Censoring? What was that, Colin?
Censoring.
So
DuckDuckGo is also censoring now too.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, you might have to search around and find a privacy extension. But it's a world of difference when you do. A world of difference.
Now,
so
here's why I'm not opposed. Here's why I'm not opposed to censoring. If it's some of these idiots who really are not qualified to be presenting something as a fact, that's not okay. If you
some of these idiots like the CDC and the WHO.
I'm not saying that they're not idiots, or they don't have more malicious intent. I'm talking about there are some people that give their opinions and present it as fact, right? There are. And I'm not for that. Like, I am for research. I am for, again, like, science. And, there's a lot of misinformation out there, in my opinion, from what I have done, right? Because I'm not an expert in anything, but there is quite a bit of misinformation by some major organizations, and we'll leave it at that. Like the ones aforementioned.
Like the ones that own the media?
Yeah. So that again, it's causing us to research. But then again, there's two sides to every coin. There's the idiot that, is trying to, again, present things as fact that are not. And this goes for like alien landings and this and that. And I mean, there's so many. And it's designed to cause, because look, the money is in views, right? How many views is my website getting? How many likes? How many clicks? How many this? How many that? Like the self-help gurus, which we love to do a little more.
Here's how you know. If someone is speaking out and they have a lot to lose and they're not charging for the information, then they're probably doing the research. They're taking big risks to do this, then it probably means something.
There you go.
Right. So, self-help gurus, what were we saying?
No, same thing. They, help and manifest and do this and do that. Well, then how come you're having to make these videos to get rich? If this information was so good, why can't you just spread it for free and then manifest on your own time? Straight up.
Sure.
They prey off of people's insecurities. They prey off of people's fear, off of their weakness. And I'm not a fan. And again, there's good and bad and everything. There's a lot of self-help gurus that will say, do this, do this. Now send me this, and you can even more. Yeah. Like if this information was so good, and if you're going to heal the world, then get it out there for free and we'll have a better society. Dear God. And what you said though, April, can you please say that again? Because and I'm not trying to, I'm kindly asking you to say it again, because I think it needs to be said twice about if someone has nothing to lose.
Someone has everything to lose.
Everything. Oh, yeah.
If someone has everything to lose and they're not trying to make any money off of it, then that's probably coming from a genuine place with a lot of research or an insider tip or all of the above. Allie said, I'm tired of the faux humanitarianism this pandemic has brought. People want to have a normal life. Life's too short. Yeah. I'm tired of living in fear. Like I refuse to live in fear. Like I refuse to. We all do. It happens. Like it happens to all of us. The anxiety comes. It's hard not to these days. But I will consciously acknowledge, okay, I have anxiety right now. This is fear-based. This is brought on by everything around me. Go outside for a walk, take a breath, because I can't make good decisions with fear. And a lot of people are living that way, and it's not the way to live. Speaking of that, BRV had a guy on the show trying to charge people $2,000 for a consultation on the virus when it first started. Wow.
Come on.
Wow. So
really?
Speaking of all of that, here's another theoretical situation that could happen. Like how Cuba cut off the internet and Australia cut off the internet and electric. Say theoretically there were perhaps some discussions about that happening here sometime this month. In theory. What would you do? How prepared are you to go off the grid? I mean, really think about that. If your internet was cut off and your phone couldn't be charged and you can't get gas and you can't get money and you can't get water and you have no electric, how prepared are you for this? What do you know? How will you survive? Do you know the most dangerous situation when that happens is your neighbor? So if you have supplies, you have to be careful about that because somebody will try and take them from you. So you need to know, put a little time and research into how to take care of yourself, you and yours, if something like that happened to us, because it's happening around us and there's no reason to think it couldn't happen to us. So we had a Facebook outage. One island away from where I live had a complete outage of internet. Not too far from us. They cut the electric, the live feeds, the everything. That's all it would take to try and create civil obedience, right? And they could stretch that on for weeks. So how would you handle that if it were to happen? What are you prepared with? So think about that. So just think about that. So here are a couple things I'll get you started with. If you need to clean your water, 1 gallon of water, you need 8 drops of chlorinated bleach. So 8 drops of chlorinated bleach.
Was it
It's
8
gotta
or
be
12?
chlorinated. It's actually 8. You can use 12 if it's super cloudy. So
Per gallon?
yes, per gallon. You leave it for 30 minutes, and then you have drinking water. So here's another thing. You want a knife, preferably with a fixed blade. So this one is actually a Smith & Wesson. They have them. So when you have a fixed blade, it's a lot better. You don't, you can use a bending blade, but you want fixed blade knife. You want a shotgun. You want to know how to get your water. You want to have dehydrated food. Not saying you will ever use it. I mean, if there's a hurricane that comes or any kind of event, you always want to be prepared. So think about how you might get prepared just in case. So it can always be handy, right? So it's not like you could get on Wikipedia and look for the stuff after it happens. So just that. That's all.
And of course,
It's not like you could get gas if your car is empty. Huh?
Make sure all these things are legal when you purchase them.
Knives are legal.
Don't go and buy illegal things. Just saying.
Knives are legal. It's a hunting knife.
Exactly, it's legal. Yes, but it's different state to state. That's all I'm saying. Every state is different.
Get a fixed blade. Yeah.
Every state is different. So just that's all.
So yeah, just thoughts. You can't be too prepared. So especially with the the ships not unloading and things like that. So
which there's some to that too. I think that there's obviously some kind of political bullshit going on there, in my opinion. Yeah, that just enough is enough. Come on.
Yeah.
But I may be wrong, but I'm just giving this is an opinion, not a fact.
So so there's that. Just wanted to bring up some theoreticals, just in case. Anyway,
Cool.
on other news, we have our first man on Playboy ever.
Isn't that Playgirl?
No, we have a man on Playboy, an openly gay man on the cover of Playboy. That just happened.
I mean, my opinion, and I'm just going to say this for what it is. That is not the market.
Fabulous.
That is not the market for that. And
I know. I would not think so.
Like, it's just not. I mean, look, you go to Playboy. Playboy is it's the female form, right? Playgirl is the male form.
Yep.
Right. I mean, April. Am I right? Am I wrong? And we are being very I'm trying to have an open, honest discussion here.
Well, I did Playboy. That's what actually got me into wrestling. At no time did I ever think that the market there, boob off. At no time did I ever think that the market wasn't my market. So yeah, I think the guy on Playboy was a great publicity stunt, but a bad business move.
Yeah, and what about the model that was like that got bumped off because she's been working her whole life? You know what I mean? And like that was an aspiration. I don't, look, there's Playgirl for that. I mean, to me, it is that simple, and this isn't a knock on anyone. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but on K9 Monthly, right? Why would you put
a cat?
Why? Yes, and all I'm saying is it's not the market for it.
Yeah.
Right. This is nothing against humanity. This is nothing against, people letting people be themselves. But when you do, like when you attack American institutions, right? And I know you said Superman's Canadian, but we're just going to say truth, justice, and the American way.
To be fair, when Hugh Hefner died, his daughter took over, and at some point they decided to not have nude pictures anymore.
What?
Yeah, they stopped doing nudes.
Oh, then the hell with it.
That's why I don't hear about it anymore.
Yeah, then put whoever you want on it. That's absolutely stupid. I mean, like, okay,
it's
no,
still
but
a men's magazine, but I guess they're trying to do like, I don't know.
Well, then fine. I mean, if it wasn't okay, so
I Maxim or something.
all right, you know what? I was thinking Playboy as Playboy was, which is you see the nude female form, and you read a couple articles, which, yeah, we all get Playboy for the articles. But okay, if Playboy has now kind of rebranded itself, so be it. But if Hef was alive, I don't think that would happen.
No, I don't think that would actually. So
I never met the man, but have an idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, like okay. So if this is more of like growing and evolving, then by all means, you know what? Hey, do what you do. Because the market has obviously changed because you're changing your product. So it is what it is.
No,
right?
The market hasn't changed. The product has changed. I don't think we've ever lived in a time where everything has been so fucking stupid. So, as Fred said, I think they switched back to nudes after steep decline in sales. Well, then, okay. So, none of us can confirm or deny any of this. We don't know, but
yeah.
Go ahead. You were talking about Superman, and
so we're like Superman, and it was National Coming Out Day yesterday. To where
it was Columbus Day.
Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, and National Coming Out. And here's my thing on that:
we have 365 days a year. We can't separate this shit.
We can't have give the Indigenous people their own day after everything we've done. And I say I wasn't a part of that, but after what European colonists did to them, we can't give them their own day. Oh, we're just going to share it with Columbus Day. No, look, Chris, we appreciate you realizing that the fucking world is round, because it is round. So, and if you're a flat Earth, please unsubscribe.
Why can't we have an entire gay month, kind of like Black History Month? I want a whole gay month.
We do.
Party.
I believe we do. It's June, I believe.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
It's a little hot for costume. Well, I guess if you're wearing
but what it is, right? Like, why can't we just give the Indigenous people their own day to say, hey, there have been atrocities committed, and you know what? Like, we really need to think about this and recognize that a bunch of people, like, their culture suffered, they lost their way of life, and it was not okay. And that is why I think we should give, the Indigenous people should have their own day. And I have a little bit of Native blood in me, right? But I'm not going to pretend like I grew up in the culture and had to deal with some of the problems that a lot of Natives had to deal with. But dear God, don't share it with Columbus Day. Like, Christopher, thank you for thinking the world was round, or knowing the world was round. Again, flat earthers. In my opinion, that was just a test to see how stupid people are. But, appreciate you making the track. You should have handled things a lot differently, but we are where we are. But to the Indigenous men and women who suffered so much in the Trail of Tears, I mean, we need to have our own holiday recognizing that, and really need to kind of make that more of a not just a footnote in American history, in my opinion.
But also a day off for all of us. Yes.
Yes, a day, of course, a day off. But okay. We need to you know what? Take the Monday off, but on Tuesday, in my opinion, here's what I would do. We take the Monday off, and then that Tuesday, why don't we educate everyone on look, this is why we had this day off. Like, you guys played basketball, played football, played video games, hung out at home, whatever you did. But this is why. Like, this was not just another day off. This is what happened. It's like the same thing with Memorial Day. This is why we treat it as such.
We barbecue on Veterans Day. Are you kidding me?
Well, whatever. Look, it's a day off, but it's also to celebrate. And even if it's just taking a couple seconds to thank someone who took a bullet for this country. Yeah. Okay. What I'm saying, take the day off to celebrate, but then educate. So it's celebrate, educate, or educate and celebrate, whatever. The Friday before, do you know why we're having a long weekend this weekend? This is why. This is what happened. And I think that should be a thing. sorry, we get off on a tangent there, but it's also National Coming Out Day. And like, why doesn't National Coming? I mean, maybe it was like a specific date that happened to fall on Columbus Day. Maybe it just kind of happened like that. But I would like to see each holiday kind of get their own thing. Again, I cannot identify with an LGBTQ experience, right? I cannot, because that's not who I am. But in talking to some of my friends who are in the community, to live,
I feel like in jail I could relate to it if I was in prison. I could be gay for stay. I'd be all right with it.
Hey, whatever you got to do.
Okay, go ahead.
You do you. I'm not judging. But like,
thank you.
to live like that, right? And persecution for something that you're feeling. And I'm taking sexuality out of this. Like, this is not pelvic sociology here, right? Like, no, this is humans, right? And to be persecuted, it's horrible. So I think, again, like, I really wish that it wasn't all kind of clumped together. And maybe it's just because of the date that it fell on. Like when Halloween's on a Saturday, it's awesome. But
which it was in 2020, and
yes, it was, and a full moon. But no, I would have liked to see, okay, we take Columbus Day off and whatever.
Light the black candle.
Yeah. We take Columbus Day off to have Columbus Day, but then we recognize separately the indigenous people. And then again, for Coming Out Day, like to try to educate people on, look, not everyone is the same. People are different, and people have had to struggle. And what if we use that as opposed to, like, people saying, oh no, it's just more, people like that community shoving their agenda down our throats. No, what if we use that as a day to truly educate people to, like, hey, you know what? In life, not everyone's going to be the same, but we have to respect them. And we all have our own struggles. Every single one of us has something that we're struggling with and is going to have a challenge. And we need to be a little more empathetic to our fellow man. And I say man, women, to our fellow human beings. So that's just something I think. Now with Superman, okay, we're getting into this.
I was going to say,
Superman, he came out that he is bisexual.
Wait, the whole story.
So with Playboy, like we were talking about previously, right? When you have an American institution like Playboy, like Superman, these things are very much rooted in the fabric of who we are collectively as a nation. And I'm all for progress in trying to evolve, but and I'm interested in your thoughts, and please, in the comment section, or write us and let us know, because I'd like to discuss this next week. At what point does it drive a wedge and only serve to anger the people that are either on the fence or polarized when it comes to these things?
I'm gonna say I'm okay with it, and here's why. I'll take the opposite side. Okay, so because Superman and Lois Lane had a son, and it's the son, the Superman Jr., the new Superman, who is gay or bisexual. And this is a storyline. First off, a lot of, the overwhelming majority of superheroes are straight because they're written by straight white males. So, all the women look like me, and all the males look like, you, and they're all straight. And they're getting more diversity now, but there's not a whole lot of diversity. So, I mean, like Robin had a date with a boy, okay. So
Robin did too?
Yes, Robin did too. So I guess it went over really well. So then they decided to go ahead and have Superman's son, Kal-El 2 Jr., be bisexual, which I just make him full on gay. Why not? But this is also something a lot of parents and people relate to, having a gay son or having a gay daughter. So I don't know. I think it's kind of, art reflects life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So while he might be the new Superman, he's not the Superman we all grew up with. So I get where you're coming from, because I mean, everybody's like, nobody wants to screw up 007.
Again, and that's exactly what I was talking about.
Nobody wants to turn 007 into a woman, okay? We just don't. But just make a new character and make her female. But you know what I'm saying?
That's it. Why can't we have a superhero like invent something new? You know what I mean? Like this is such a potential for creativity. Like, why not create a superhero who's and champion the cause of that, or just be a superhero who happens to be which in essence will be championing the cause, right? And furthering understanding. Because I think this is all done hopefully. And I look, I'm sure there's money involved and everything, but the good part about all this is hopefully this causes us to be more understanding, be more open, and to not be as judgmental. Because there are still parts of the country that are very much, if you believe this or if you lead this lifestyle, you're going to hell. And again, as someone who's looked into spirituality as much as I have, like I'm wrestling with the fact that an all-loving, all-merciful God will condemn anyone, for doing and feeling a certain way. Again, my personal beliefs, but again, like instead of trying to rewrite history, why don't we create something new? Create again some new movies, create some new superheroes, create some new TV shows, create some new characters instead of trying to remake shit. Like,
why don't we do, but they don't buy those screenplays from those writers. So there's a million books out there dying to be made into films, but they'd rather remake.
Well, then I think some executives need to grow some balls.
Yes,
and take a chance on
that's
people.
The real
they
issue.
Need to just grow some balls.
Yes. That's because there's a lot of good screenwriters out there. There's a lot of good books that can be turned into good screenplays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
but when you're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars, they want to gamble with something that's already made money sometimes. So there you go.
Because they're a bunch of wussies.
Again, we live in a capitalist society.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, Did you drink again? Do we get to drink
again?
Well,
yeah. Just please let us know what you thought of the show. You can't see it, but I'm flexing right now. It's about time. We're doing the Twitch twitch.
Twitch screen.
Yeah.
Gotta do it. No, do it.
I am.
Wait, there we go.
There we go. Yep. And of course, April wins again.
No, it's only because you can see it.
The reigning and defending champion. So yeah, again, thank you all so much for coming on. If you like the show, tell a friend. If you don't, tell an enemy. If you have any questions or points, just please let us know. Like, write in. We'd love to discuss them.
One of your fans want to know if you're going to be at the next NWA pay-per-view, I think. Somebody wrote in and asked that.
I hope so.
Okay. I did see that. Somebody came on late. Sorry. And asked if you were going to be at whatever the next name is. I
am not going to be in Kentucky the 24th.
Okay.
I will not be in Kentucky the 24th.
Okay. And we saw all you guys in there, or we are looking at the comments. We didn't get a chance to acknowledge a whole lot of them, but thank you. We see all you guys, and thank you for being on here tonight. Thank you for hanging with us. And thank you for being our patrons and supporting us. Somebody said, hopefully you'll come to WrestleCade. That's Keon.
Where the hell's that? I don't. Is that you or me? Or
that's you. Hopefully you'll come to WrestleCade. I don't wrestle.
What the hell's WrestleCade? Is that a signing?
I don't know. Is that? I don't know. What's WrestleCade? Is that the North Carolina show? Oh yeah, that's the North Carolina show. It's like a big kind of like a WrestleCon, but it's in North Carolina.
I haven't been invited to it. I'm starting.
I would love to do that.
Some more personal appearances. Like I've done New York, I've done LA, and I guess I'm due for one in the Midwest, and then maybe one in like the southern area. So maybe WrestleCade will be my spot.
Let's get booked on WrestleCade and do our show live there.
Absolutely, that'd be cool.
Ask for either of us or both of us.
We'd love to do that.
So it's in Winston-Salem near Greensboro.
Right on.
They said.
That's where Austin Idol lives. A former.
There you go. All right, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. We really, really appreciate your time. Time is valuable. It's worth everything, and we love yours. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being on everything, on all our stuff. Thank you.
Truly appreciate it.
Have
Truly
a good
appreciate it.
night. See you next week.
Peace.
Mwah.